Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Cutter Top 10 video to do with Super Bowl week. And we are going to be doing the top 10 Super Bowl halftime shows in history. I don't know much about the halftime shows and all that because, unlike most people, I don't watch the Super Bowl for the halftime show. I watch Super Bowl for the actual freaking action. And, I decided, you know, I might as well just talk about the halftime shows and all that. There are some good halftime shows to be had and all that. So, got all that going. So, it was just humongous and all that. Um, One massive honorable mention has to go to Paul McCartney and the Rolling Stones doing the Super Bowl halftime shows in '06 and '07. Because of the whole Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake thing, they had to freak. The NFL freaked out and said that MTV would not produce any more halftime shows, and they would bring in like old school guys like Paul McCartney and the Rolling Stones to do the halftime show so that no massive incidents could happen. The whole thing. I feel so bad for Janet Jackson because, as I said in my last video, that she was really blacklisted and Timberlake escaped with little damage, like cunt. Anyway, so they actually did decent in their halftime shows. Anyway, number 10 on the halftime show thing is Bruno Mars with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Super Bowl 48, 19, in 2014. So the 2014 Super Bowl saw the Seahawks took down Broncos. People say this is the worst Super Bowl in history because of the Seahawks demolishing Peyton Manning and the Broncos and their defense. I personally think the worst Super Bowl of all time might be Super Bowl 8 when the Dolphins crushed the Vikings 24-3 and at one time had Minnesota in the negatives in yardage. But that's just me. Anyhow, Bruno Mars is this good guy, Grenade and a few other songs. His infectious energy, impressive musicianship paired up with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, give it away, give it away, give it away, yeah, for a crowd pleasing performance. Did you know Red Hot Chili Peppers were in a Simpsons episode? They were in the season 4 finale, Krusty Gets Cancelled. But anyway, yeah, Bruno Mars and Red Hot Chili Peppers did their job. Great, infectious halftime, terrible game. Number 9 is Madonna, 2012. I watched this at a bar. Super Bowl 46, Patriots versus the Giants. I wanted to watch it in a bar. So anyway, yeah, it was a Roman themed spectacle, excuse me. Madonna performed some great songs. There were some guest appearances, extravagant staging. It was a great, unforgettable show. That was when the Giants took on the Pats the second time in the Super Bowl. And the Pats were close. They were Hail Mary away from beating the Giants, and they freaking couldn't do the job, which was terrible. Madonna did a good job with her halftime show. Number 8 is Lady Gaga, 2017, Super Bowl 51. Super Bowl 51 was looking like a romp. The Falcons looked pretty good against the Patriots. It looked like it was going to be a good halftime show, terrible game. But you know what happened. The Pats came back and roared and took care of those pesky um, Falcons. Yeah, Madonna, like a virgin, like a prayer. Material Girl. Lady Gaga, known for Monster, Poker Face, and I would say I Kissed a Girl, but that's Katy Perry. But yeah, Lady Gaga, Super Bowl 51. Her acrobatics, costume changes, and a set list of her biggest hits. She even did a dramatic roof jump. Thankfully, that it went off well with her rigging and all that because it would have been destroyed. Well, Simpsons fans hate Lady Gaga because she kind of ruined the episode with Lisa. I talked about it when I did Simpsons Unhinged. I talked about how Lady Gaga ruined Lisa, and she wouldn't leave Lisa alone. Lisa wanted to be left alone and said that people are like, more angry towards her. That, Lady Gaga refuses until Lisa is happy. Then Lisa bursts out at Lady Gaga, realizing that she's been bottling her rage. Number 7 is the Hip Hop All Star lineup of 2022 with Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar. It was high energy, nostalgic. The 2022 Super Bowl was big in Los Angeles. This was when the Rams took on the Bengals, and the Bengals shocked everyone by getting to the Super Bowl in the first place. You had Dr. Dre doing his job. Forget about Dre, Snoop Dogg, Gin and Juice, Eminem. Hi, my name is Slim Shady. Mary J. Blige. Uh, what was her song? Something from the block or something? No, I can't remember her. Kendrick Lamar. Drake doesn't like Kendrick Lamar. You know that thing. Mary Jane, something Mary Jane or something with Mary J. Blige. But anyway, yeah, it was huge. The hip hop world was trying to get through to everyone, thinking that the shows were all vanilla in a sense, not the skin color, but like vanilla as in the whole thing. Now there is an well, I watched the Super Bowl halftime in 2019 with Maroon 5. They sang terribly, like it felt like it was flat. That's the problem though, because many of the acts dropped out because of the lack of diversity. So Maroon 5 came in. Well, anyway, they're definitely not on the top 10. Number 6 is Katy Perry Super Bowl 49, 2015. Seahawks Pats, the big Super Bowl. The second Super Bowl will have Bad Bunny in it, and Donald Trump refusing to go because he hates the Latino artists and all that. We all know what you're really thinking, Trump. Anyway, Katy Perry in Super Bowl 49, 2015, California Girls, not Poker Face, I Kissed a Girl, a few other songs. I think it was TikTok, wasn't it? TikTok. I think that was Katy Perry, or was that someone else? But anyway, yeah, Katy Perry's colorful, larger than life performance featured hits, stunning visuals, and the Fyro left shark moment. So yeah, she performed well. The left shark, doing the choreography, and the left shark kind of missed his mark more than the right shark. So yeah, it was pretty stunning for the visuals. Number 5 is U2, Super Bowl 36 in 2002. This was emotional because you all know what happened prior to Super Bowl 36. September 11, 2001, U.S. was under attack. Two planes crashed into the World Trade Towers, the Twin Towers, and demolished them. A third plane hit the Pentagon. A fourth plane was allegedly supposed to go to Washington, but thankfully, though, people crashed it outside Pennsylvania. So anyway, yeah, the NFL was just in gloom and doom mode in New Orleans. The Patriots and Rams had a great Super Bowl. You all know about Anthony Terry's last second field goal. But yeah, it was huge and all that because U2 with Bono and crew actually did some great songs and all that. Bono wore an American flag in his little jacket, and then Where the Streets Have No Name was played. And then the scrolling names of the 9/11 victims were there. It struck a massive chord and all that. It was an emotional tribute to 9/11 victims, and it was well needed. Number 4 is Shakira, Shakira, oh baby, when you talk like that, and J Lo, Jenny for the Block, Let's Get Loud. Super Bowl 54, 2020. Now, no, this was not during the pandemic because Super Bowl 54 happened in February 2020. This was before COVID ruined everything. Shakira and J-Lo were bringing Latino flair, high energy dance, and special guests to the stage. Diversity, female empowerment, and they were in Miami. So that helped out a lot. Shakira doing her stuff. J-Lo, she was on the main stage during In Living Colors time, and we'll talk about In Living Colors shortly. But the fact is that, you know, those two really put up the flair, high energy dancing, and, they did a great show and all that. Number 3 is the halftime show that really changed the halftime show. It was Michael Jackson's Super Bowl 27, 1993. Super Bowl shows were basically themed and all that. This is the earliest of the top 10, 1993. So yeah, so they would have themes. They would have like Up with People, the squeaky clean people that made the Mormons blush and all that. The Mormon Tabernacle Choir. But the fact is that, there were themes like Snoopy's Parade and A Salute to Jazz, A Salute to Motown. And in 1992, Winter Carnival, which saw Dorothy Hamill and Brian Botano do ice skating during a medley of songs. It seemed like a terrible halftime show in Super Bowl 26. And let's face it, it was. What's even worse for the NFL was that Fox decided to do something bold. They would do counter programming. They would counter with a live NFL themed Super Bowl show of in living color, and they would have a clock on the screen to tell people to switch back to the real game. So they did football sketches, Men on Football with Damien Williams and David Allen Greer trying to, one up each other in the innuendo departments and all that. You don't one up Damon Williams. But the fact of the matter for Damon is that, it was big. They did a lot of football stuff, Fire Marshal Bill with Jim Carrey doing the job. They knocked it out of the park. The NFL realized the stats of their halftime show compared to In Living Color's halftime programming and knew they had to fix the problem. So what did they do? They brought in the best musical act around, Michael freaking Jackson, for their Super Bowl in Pasadena in 1993. I think that was the last time the Super Bowl happened in a city that did not have an NFL team. Now, of course, Super Bowl 27 was not supposed to be in Pasadena. It was supposed to be in Arizona, but because Arizona refused to vote yay on the whole Martin Luther King Day holiday situation, the NFL decided to strip Arizona of their power and give Pasadena that Super Bowl in '93. Fortunately, though, Arizona changed their mind, and in '96 they were given the Super Bowl. But anyway, the King of Pop did their halftime show great. The jaw-dropping performances, Billie Jean, Black or White, setting the tempo for modern spectacles and making the halftime show worth watching for non-football fans. And you can thank In Living Color for that. Number 2 is Beyonce 2013 Super Bowl, which is Super Bowl 47. The Niners versus the Ravens. And the Ravens were looking pretty good, especially after the kickoff return in the second half. And all that. But Beyonce wowed fans with a powerhouse medley, and she reunited with Destiny's Child. I can't remember the what. I know Michelle was one of them. Michelle Williams was one. Who was the other Destiny Child person? I can't remember for the life of me. But anyway, yeah, flawless vocals, choreography, visual effects, and Destiny's Child. Independent woman on the runway, bake the money. Shit, watch, I'm weary. I bought it. I bought it. You could tell. So yeah, Beyonce doing her job. It was a great powerhouse halftime show. And some people blame her halftime show for using so much power that, it turned off half the Superdome. And like in the third quarter, the lights went out. Half the dome went out with lights because there was a power outage. They had to wait half an hour, and the Niners almost won the Super Bowl because of that. But yeah, Beyonce's Super Bowl was blamed for everything, but it was just a power outage of sorts. But yeah, Beyonce still knew how to rock it, baby. Lemonade and all that. Single girls. And number 1 by a long shot is Purple Rain's Prince. Super Bowl 41 in 2007. Prince knew how to perform. He would be the halftime show in 2007, of course. That's when the NFL freaked and had older acts do the halftime show, not the young stars you see. Anyway, he had guitar work, stage presence. It was a new standard for halftime shows. His iconic rendition of Purple Rain in the rain, because Super Bowl 41 became the first outdoor Super Bowl to be plagued by rain, as it rained for most of the game and all that. It ruined the Bears, but helped the Colts and Peyton Manning win the Super Bowl. But yeah, Prince did it in the pouring rain. That's what he needed to do to make everything right. And that's what Prince did. He proved that he was still a powerhouse. And yeah, how ironic. I can't remember which one he was actually in as a hologram after he died, but still, I mean, Prince is Prince. I wish Michael Jackson was number 1, but whatever. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do